Authorities, investigators, and the family speak after arrests are made in a 1982 cold case. Phil Lindemann, Krystal, 93 News. First, 2 accidents closed both sides of I-70 at Silverthorne for about 3 hours today. First, for a jackknifed camper trailer heading eastbound. Steve Lipscher with Summit Fire and EMS.
They did have a couple of tanks of diesel fuel and motor oil that spilled off of the trailer, and so we had to do a cleanup there.
No one was injured in the trailer crash. As crews were cleaning up, a second accident happened westbound when a Silverthorne police cruiser was parked with lights flashing to slow down traffic.
That vehicle, the police car, ended up getting struck by 2 other vehicles.
2 people were taken to the hospital from that crash. The officer was not in his vehicle.
It is intolerable to have people flying down the highway past emergency vehicles like that. That's just unconscionable.
Both sides of I-70 are open again. Summit County's 5-star businesses are going blue. Starting immediately, certified restaurants, gyms, and more can move to level blue COVID restrictions with new, looser capacity limits and 11 p.m. last call for booze. This comes from the state, which yesterday confirmed 70% of residents over the age of 70 are vaccinated. This Friday is the next phase of vaccination for people over 60 and grocery store workers. Breckenridge is still struggling to enforce its mandatory Main Street face mask order. Town manager Rick Holman.
Eric will tell you that he'll have conversations with people from other states that flat tell him they have no rules where they come from.
Here's what Mayor Eric Mamula has been dealing with.
I got into it with a lady the other day who had a mitten she was doing this with. A big furry mitten, which probably worked, but that's not the point.
Now, council is nervous about spring break, and they want to hire private security to patrol Main Street. Holman does not think this summer's volunteer ambassador program worked.
It takes a certain skill set to balance through that, or it takes some level of authority, if you will, to tell somebody, hey, you need to follow the rules.
$300 per day pays for 1 or 2 patrollers, and council agrees private security is the best way to enforce rules at the busiest time of year. Mayor Mamula.
And in the end, it's just to reinforce the COVID rules that we have.
Total cost could hit $10,000 for 2 weeks of daily patrolling starting next week. This week on the State of Summit.
These 2 vibrant women with their lives ahead of them were last seen outside of Breckenridge in January of 1982. While they were not together at the time of their disappearance, they are forever connected through the suspect who allegedly took their lives and through the exhaustive work by investigators who never faded in their determination to solve these cases.
That was Park County Sheriff Tom McGraw from a press conference today. Last Wednesday, 70-year-old Alan Lee Phillips of Dumont was arrested for allegedly kidnapping and killing the 2 women, Bobby Jo Oberalzer and Annette Schnee.
Prior to that, hitchhiking was really common. And then it pretty much ceased completely. Nobody wanted to hitchhike, because it was known that both Annette and Bobby Jo were hitchhikers.
That was Lee Gervin with the Breckenridge Historical Society, and she remembers how the unsolved murders changed small-town Breck.
It was a big city murder, and certainly Breckenridge had murders before that, but they were known. They were kind of a homegrown murder. The people knew who the murderer was and why. But this was just a mystery, and not knowing, I think, was the worst of it for a lot of people.
Locals were hit hard, including Bobby Jo's daughter, Jackie, speaking through Sheriff McGraw.
When I look into my child's blue eyes, which are truly beautiful like my mom's, I see her. I have lived with a monster in my mind since I was 11 years old, and now I can rest knowing justice will be served.
This case haunted everyone involved, including private investigator Charlie McCormick of Breck, who worked the case for 3 decades.
I've been trying to define my emotions, and it's been very hard to do. It's like a new beginning or an old death. I never thought I'd see the day.
Defendant Phillips is in court next Monday, answering to charges. Tune in again next Wednesday for The State of Summit on Krystal 93. In sports, the Avalanche play the Sharks tonight at 8:30. And in local sports, brought to you by American Family Insurance, the Weiss Agency, starting this coming Sunday, March 7th, is final race of the Up and Adam series at Frisco Nordic. Get registered online. Phil Lindemann with your news from Avalanche Physical Therapy on Krystal 93.